the news that startled Scotland. In the heart of Nicola Sturgeon's Glasgow constituency, stopped to chat in Govan Hill.
A fairly frequent thing to just see Nicola wandering around.
And you'll soon get a sense of the divisions, the polarisation that the First Minister, in her parting speech, said she so laments. Andrew will miss her. Are you sad about what's happened?
Yeah, I think she was somebody you could be proud of as you know, your face in the world stage.
Rachel will too. How do you feel about her standing down?
Very sad, actually. And yeah, I hope the SNP continues its reform agenda, especially regarding transgender issues, shall we say.
At the beginning I was a great fan, and then I'm very disappointed in her.
But Michael and Irene, glad she's going. Do you think she's done a good job as First Minister for Scotland?
No, I voted for independence and I've changed my mind.
People have largely made up their minds about Nicola Sturgeon, which is one reason she gave for leaving. There's also the fact that within weeks the SNP was set to vote on Nicola Sturgeon's strategy of using the next general election as a de facto referendum. There are growing calls within the party to press pause, and a new leader could bend the whole idea.
There is a much greater intensity, dare I say it, brutality to life as a politician than in years gone by.
Political culture, that played its part too, according to Nicola Sturgeon. In Scotland, major political parties, all led by women a few years ago, could soon all be led by men. And that's been noted by Jean Freeman, the ex-Health Secretary and close friend of the First Minister.
So I would be sad and disappointed if we get to a position where there are 4 men again. Part of the problem in encouraging women, particularly young women, is they look at the level of abuse and commentary and threat that women in politics receive, quite different from men, and they take what in some cases seems a very reasonable decision, and that is, I'm not going to put myself or my family through that.
But this is a pivotal moment for the SNP. It hasn't had a leadership election since Alex Salmond won in 2004. And there's little evidence of succession planning, like when Nicola Sturgeon herself got the job uncontested. The man many had tipped to replace her, Derek Mackay, was engulfed in scandal on the morning of the budget 3 years ago and was replaced that same day by Kate Forbes, now being touted as a front runner, along with the Constitution Secretary, Angus Robertson. Pollsters have barely run the numbers on the contenders yet, but even after a recent dip, Nicola Sturgeon will prove a lot to live up to.
Still, for every one person who has an unfavourable view of Nicola Sturgeon, there's another one who has had a positive view of her. And actually those are ratings that, for example, Rishi Sunak as UK Prime Minister would envy.
Leadership hopefuls will need the backing of 100 members. Dion and John are 2 from the party's youth wing. Who do you want?
I mean, I think for me it's more about the qualities that I'm looking for in somebody. I think, nobody's actually put themselves out as a front runner in saying that they're going to go for it. But I'm looking for someone that will just really represent the Scottish people and focus on independence for Scotland.
Do you really believe that there is somebody of Nicola Sturgeon's quality waiting in the wings?
Yes, I think there is. I think as a party we are blessed with a lot of really talented candidates. I think listen, whoever it is, it will take them a long time to really build up, the length and the breadth of experience that Nicola had, and the skill that she had as a politician.
The prize is huge, but so are the challenges. There are divisions within Scotland, as evident in Nicola Sturgeon's own patch as anywhere else, that will prove difficult to sweep away. Candidates, when they do come forward, will not only need the support of 100 members, they'll need them from across 20 different branches of the SNP, whose National Executive Committee has begun meeting in the last hour to decide a timetable for that leadership election. Nicola Sturgeon has said, she'll stay on until the end of that process, so don't expect them to rush it. What you can expect, though, perhaps is some backpedalling on her idea of using the next general election as a de facto referendum. Maybe a delay announced to a vote on that strategy pretty soon, because there has been some pretty influential SNP figures saying that strategy could seriously backfire internally, mainly for now. But that tells us two things. Firstly, that dissent to Nicola Sturgeon's leadership has been growing within the SNP and becoming more emboldened. And secondly, that we will soon see some of that dissent and differences of opinion thrashed out in public in the form of a leadership election. And that is a process that the SNP as a party hasn't been through for some time.